My name is Tom Carter. For decades, I've been Georgia's chief auctioneer, selling everything from estates to storage units. I live by contracts, clear titles, and the belief that the law matters. I found a 10-acre plot. Old pines, a creek, no HOA, no drama. Just peace. I wanted a workshop, maybe a cabin. I checked the deeds, made sure the title was clean. For a year, it was perfect. I cleared brush, enjoyed the quiet, and waved at neighbors who mostly kept to themselves. But peace is fragile. Some neighbors started organizing, seeing our homes as a community needing rules. My land was right in the middle of their plans. I had no idea a storm was brewing, one that would test everything I knew about property rights and the law. My quiet haven was about to become a battlefield. Sometimes the biggest fights start with the smallest piece of land. And this one was just getting started. Trouble arrived in my mailbox. A letter from the Oak Haven Estates HOA demanding dues. I'd never joined an HOA. I called the number. Karen, the president, insisted my land was now under their control. Suddenly, I was hit with fines. My grass was too long. My lumber pile an eyesore. I sent proof they had no authority. They doubled the fines. The board, Karen, her husband, and friends, held meetings, making rules clearly aimed at me. No workshops, no building materials, manicured lots only. Then came the lien. They filed it based on fake debts and forged documents. They'd created an HOA out of thin air and were trying to seize my land. This was no longer neighborly squabbling. It was fraud. I decided to let them make the next move. Sometimes you have to let the con play out to catch the con artists. But I was ready. They had no idea who they were dealing with. The real fight was about to begin. I laid low, waiting. Then I saw it. A silent auction notice in the classifieds for my land due to unpaid HOA dues. They were trying to sell my property out from under me, quietly, hoping I wouldn't notice. I was furious, but also curious. This was my world. They were amateurs. I created a fake persona, Bill, and contacted Karen, expressing interest. She sent me a package of forged documents and fake ledgers. The day of the auction, I showed up in disguise, watching as they dropped bids in a box. The board looked smug, thinking they'd pulled it off. They had no idea the real owner was in the room. I let them announce the winner, a company tied to Karen's husband. It was time to end their game. Sometimes you have to let the trap close before you spring it. And I had all the evidence I needed. The tables were about to turn. I revealed myself. I'm Tom Carter. You've just committed fraud. Karen's face went pale. I laid out the evidence, forged documents, fake liens, every email. I told them the sheriff was on the way and the attorney general would see it all. Neighbors backed away from the board, realizing the truth. The fake HOA crumbled in minutes. The sheriff arrived, took statements, and the board was charged with multiple felonies. My title was cleared, the lien erased. But I wasn't done. I'd found something else. Karen and her husband hadn't paid property taxes in years. In Georgia, that means the county can auction your property. The irony was perfect. They tried to steal my land, and now they were about to lose theirs. Justice has a way of coming full circle, and I was about to see it firsthand. The county scheduled a public auction for the board members' homes to pay their tax debts. I was hired as the auctioneer. On auction day, I stood on the courthouse steps, gavel in hand, as a real crowd gathered. Karen and her husband watched as their homes sold, legally, fairly, and in the open. The proceeds paid their debts. The law did its job. My land was safe, my title clear. The neighborhood came together, forming a real voluntary watch group. My workshop stands where I dreamed it would. The law, in the right hands, is the ultimate equalizer. Sometimes, you have to see a dirty job through to the end, and make sure it's done right.